everyone. I'm sorry I haven't made a video, but I've been too lazy. Also, being in public spaces and talking to a camera makes me feel awkward. So obviously I'm sitting holed up in my bathroom, making a video and not feeling awkward at all. I actually have notes about what I want to talk about because whatever I'm saying, I'm recording because my father's out of the room. And I am so self-conscious about doing this. We're getting this over with so quickly. Okay, so today I woke up at 5:30 due to a mistaken wake-up call. Oh my god, the sun wasn't even up yet. But I got up and the first thing we were supposed to do was go on a William and Kate tour of London, except that it didn't have anything to do with like William and Kate at all. We just kind of like drove around and did one of those big bus things that we did like the first day, except we weren't on like a double-decker bus anymore. We were just on a tour bus. But we did get to see the changing of the guards, and we saw them process out with their hats and the band and the horses, which was pretty cool. I took some pictures. Everything's on Tumblr, so check that, because that's been convenient and I've been lazy. Yeah. So then we go, after the William and Kate tour, we have lunch. And to get to lunch, we first went to where the Doctor Who Experience was playing, or like located. It's an exhibit. And we were gonna have lunch around there, except it's like London's financial district. And this is the first time we ventured out of like non-touristy London. Like for the whole time we've been here, so we've just kind of been like wandering around and you know, whatever. But then we get to this financial district and then there's like nothing, and we're like, oh, like it's still really pretty and stuff and old, but I mean there's like nothing to eat basically. We asked somebody and he's like, well, there's this place and a supermarket. We're like, cool, thanks. So anyway, we go there, and then the first restaurant we get to was like, we got in there, and then we were like, we gotta get out of here, because it was actually really shady. And then we go to some other chain restaurant. Well, I mean, it didn't seem like it was, but you know, like it was. I can try and find out the names for you, Gabriella. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. But I had like a Caesar salad, so there you go. My god, but I had fish and chips for like lunch yesterday, and then we had it for dinner today. I am all fish and chipped out, let me tell you. But anyway, to my favorite part of the day. So we had lunch, whatever, we were getting back to the Doctor Who Experience. I am like dying. We were on the car ride over. My dad even asks the person from the bus tour in the morning, like, how do we get to this place? Because it's like not near where we're supposed to be. And she's like, ew, Doctor Who. I was like, whoa, we are in England. Where's the Doctor Who love here? But whatever. I can never win, clearly. That's just the way my life works. So, anyway, we're at the Doctor Who Experience, and you go in and you get off the elevator, and like there's like where you buy tickets. But the first thing you hear is like the Doctor Who theme song. And I am just like, home. I'm like, you can't take me away from here, I'm staying. Like, stop. So we had the tickets and everything, and we go up, and then they're like, oh, okay, like, it's fine to go in, whatever. And so then we go in, and they lead you into a room with like all these exhibits, and they have costumes of the Vampires in Venice episode, the episode with like the lizard people. I don't think they had a name. The episode, there was a Dalek from the World War III episode, and there was, I forget, there was something else when you walked in. Anyway, but it was like the Matt Smith thing. There weren't, like, until you got to later, then that was the other Doctors, but when you first walked in, it was all episodes from the Matt Smith era. So, you walked in, oh my god, I'm sorry for anyone that doesn't watch Doctor Who, but this was like the best thing ever, I was dying. So, you walked in, and then you got to sit around, and I was like, everyone, take my picture. So I'm like running around, I'm like, guys, this is great, guys. And my poor family is like, okay, so like, can I see your sonic screwdriver? What? No, like, that's what she said. But no, so I was dying, and then they let us into a room, so it was like us and all these British people. It was the first thing that we had been to the entire time while we were here that like wasn't a tourist thing. So, oh my god, it's all these families and all these little kids running around like, Doctor Who! I'm like, oh my god, I love you. They were like, oh, I love this episode! And I'm like, I love you! But anyway, so we go into a room after we've like gotten the line, and so you're all kind of sitting around and we're waiting for this thing to happen, and we're gonna like look at the screen, and there's like a crack down the middle, and I was like, ha ha ha. But then then a movie started playing on it, which, you know, was like the beginning of the experience, and I was like, oh, guess it's not a crack. But anyway, so the movie starts playing, and it's like clips of all of new season 5 and whatever first half of season 6 there is. I am like jumping up and down out of excitement and like having a panic attack. And of course all these British people are like, oh, like, yeah. And I'm like, guys, you don't understand. Like, I flew all the way across the Atlantic basically for this. Oh, and David Tennant, but whatever. So there was like do, and then, so the crack in the screen actually was a crack. The screen like opened, and then we walked through, and then it was like you were in this museum, and the library guides from the Silence in the Library episodes was there, and she was like giving you a tour, and then there was the Vincent van Gogh painting of the TARDIS exploding, and there was I swear to God, there's something else too. There was one of the smilers that was like turning around, and I was like, oh my God, I remember what you do. So then she was like, oh, giving us a tour and stuff. And then it was like, something happened. Oh my God, that's what it was. There was a telescope from the one episode with David Tennant and Billie Piper, and David Tennant speaks in a Scottish accent, and it's the whole thing with like the wolves. I forget what it's called. But there was that, and it was like different artifacts from different Doctor Who episodes. Anyway, so the panic starts going, and then, you know, the helper from the library is like, oh, issues, and then the doctor's on the screen, he's like, hello, and I'm like, shut up. And everyone's like, ah. So then he starts talking, and he's saying how he's gotten trapped in the Pandorica, like, 2, and he's like, oh yeah, though I can't pull off any of his jokes, though, but I, like, remember the whole thing. So he's saying, like, oh my God, yeah, like, the Daleks, like, locked me up again, like, you know, can you believe it, they had a backup one, and they didn't even paint it a different color, boring, like, he literally said that. I would never say that, but Matt Smith did, and I was like, okay, you're the best. And then he was saying, like, oh, alright, so I had my sonic screwdriver fixed to a TARDIS honing signal. I told you I remember everything. And he was saying, and then I put the honing signal on Amy and Rory, but I guess you'll have to do, oh, look, you're all shoppers. Great. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You want to go? Let's go. We can go. We're going now. Leave everyone behind? Fine, come on. But, of course, that wasn't the case. So, he was like, oh, okay, so you're just staying here, and I'll, like, make sure the sonic screwdriver, because I gotta get out of this thing, you know. They locked me up again. And he's like, and I'll just make the TARDIS appear, and you just, like, do something. I never follow the science behind it. I'm always like, oh, hello, I'm good best. So anyway, he was like, do, and, like, you hear the TARDIS noise going, and I'm like, guys. And my family's like, oh, this is nice, and I'm like, oh my God. And so you hear it going, and then there's like one side of the room that like looked like it was, you know, normal wall, but it was actually, you know, a screen. So the light goes on behind the screen, and you can see the TARDIS, and I was like, oh. And he was like, okay, go, get in. And we were like, all right. And so you go in, and oh my God, it's bigger on the inside. Like, I've seen, like, a replica TARDIS or whatever from those people that, like, actually make them, which I think is a little much. But, and then you see the inside and it's like, oh. But you open the door to this and holy God, I swear, I was like, oh! It was Matt Smith's TARDIS and I was like, guys, we can go home now. So Matt Smith was like, all right, get in. And then since he was in the Pandorica, he was like, all right, well, you've got to fly it. And I was like, can do, let's go. So I'm like standing around the TARDIS console, cause like there's like a little bar to separate us. And he's like, all right, like all the little kids like out of control. And then he like talks about how much he doesn't like adults, which is funny. And then he was like, all right, like adults are bad, little kids get the controls. And I'm like, oh, hang on, part 2.